Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Atari's Moon, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, this is for my motherfucking spirits that been here before man, language, and laws. But this is and shape and form and light and illusion and physicality. Check this out. This is for all my ancient spirits who have some form of overstanding. Now, this is what I want to talk about. Your concepts of give and receive, positive and negative, force and magnetism are created. These concepts were purely created. They don't exist. They were created. Now, I'm not here to say that creations can't be beneficial. I mean, we create shit every day. Let's look at it like this. Let's look at phones and clocks. A phone, it was a time that you could remember all the goddamn numbers. Now you look at a phone, you can just push on somebody's name and call them. Now, through the filter and the illusion, we can explain how that's beneficial. But once we cut that out, cut the filter and the illusion out, and talk about the energy where it's derived from, we understand that you then lost the power of understanding the frequency of numbers and remembering numbers. Let's look at the motherfucking clock. There used to be a time we could go outside and look at the stars and feel the energetic forces where we know what time it is or what time of the day it is. Now we got a clock. Now all you have to do is look at your watch, phone, or a clock that's hanging on the wall and you know what time it is. But you lost your esoteric knowledge of understanding the stars. So a lot of that come with it. You lose your frequency vibrations of understanding the feelings of them and all that shit. So was it really beneficial? But then again, you can flip it, and within the illusion of filter, you can explain how it is beneficial. Or how it is more of a convenience for yourself. So you see, creations that people create with the mind, there's no such thing as good or bad, it's just how it's used. So, let's look at give and receive, positive and negative, force and magnetism. Now you're going to look at me like, Dolo, this don't make sense. But I'm about to explain to you that those concepts came from the vibration of expansion and contraction. That is really what those things are. These are just lower densities and lower frequencies and lower vibrations. And when you get lost into those filters and those illusions, right, you get lost into certain perceptions and you don't have clairvoyance, where you have to understand this. There's things on this earth that's out of your hands that has its own intelligence that's bared on the universal intelligence. And we see these things expanding and contracting. Same way a woman do when she's pregnant, same way your brain do, same way you can feel your heart pumping do, same way you can feel your motherfucking pulse. That's expansion and motherfucking contraction. That's not give and receive. Now, the concept of give and receive, positive and negative, force and magnetism, male and female, derived from contraction and expansion. So this what you have to understand now. What's happening is it must have been a spirit, vessel, or a being who understood the concept of expansion and contraction and started to build on sciences that you know today as give and receive, positive and negative. This is why scientists can create batteries, a plus and a negative battery, a give and receive, a positive and negative charged battery. But this is why they can create batteries, but this is why that anytime they try to create that from a universal perspective, it don't work. That's letting you know the positive and negative charge was purely created, was our imagination. The give and receive was purely created. This is why when you try to do it universally, it don't work. It only works in this reality based upon what you receive. Because it truly was created. Things that work in this reality is created. See what I'm saying? Same way with vaccines. You got the that swine flu that was around, right? Anytime news channels or close pharmaceutical drugs, and like Walgreens and stuff, anytime they come up with something of trying to prevent something, like you got to get a swine flu shot or things of that nature. These things are brought about from, like, they didn't already did something, so they're trying to prevent things that's taking place from what they already done. So that's why a scientist can even create a vaccine. because they know what they have done. So this vaccine is going to play as a repellent or something, something to repel that whatever they put into the air off of you. Because they done fucked up something, so they had to hurry up and create a vaccine. Now, let's look at it like this. The contraction and expansion is where the concepts of give and receive come from. But when you get lost into those filters and illusions, you get lost into concepts and religions. And religion don't necessarily deals with a religion, just you religiously being on something. You doing something in a pattern. That's a religion. So, you know what I'm saying? You'll take things like moral and stuff, morality and things of that nature, and you truly don't even know where that's derived from. And you filter it in filters and illusions of give and receive. Now here's where things get fucked up. Because the positive and negative force and magnetism, give and receive, is derived from expansion and contraction. But y'all are so lost into the filter and illusion that now y'all confused about the illusion. Here's why. Let's look at what things are doing. When something is expanding, right? What is the energy doing? When you eat a lot, you expand, right? Anytime you have more of something, you expand. So that's expansion. You know what I'm saying? Something getting bigger. That concept. That's expansion. Now, expansion created the concept of positive, magnetism. You know what I'm saying? External, yang, giving. That concept was derived from expansion. But you see where it's fucked up at? To expand, y'all look at that as receiving. So you see how y'all look at as backwards? Y'all see how y'all live life backwards? Y'all live life in reverse? The more you receive, the more you get what you prayed for, the more you obtain what you want and need, right? That's receiving. You look at that as positive. But what created the positive energy in the first place was expansion. You see what I'm saying? And expansion, you have to receive to expand. And expand and to receive is ultimately negative. So you see how y'all doing negative shit, but y'all think it's positive? All the way to the point that you so motherfucking selfish, you think God did something specifically for you today. Oh, God looked out for me. So you got a motherfucking evil ass mind to the point that you got a fucking mind to think that God ain't doing nothing for nobody else but you. And God gave you some type of ability. See what I'm saying? Now, illusion 1. Expansion deals with the positive and the giving. But in this realm of reality, y'all think expansion y'all think that's receiving, and y'all think that's positive. Y'all think the negative is positive, and then y'all think the positive is negative. Let's go to what contraction is doing. Contraction is shedding. See what I'm saying? Contraction is shedding. So when a woman about to have a child, she shed the child. When you eat a lot, you shed that food. When you have something, contraction is getting smaller. So contraction created the frequency vibration of giving. Giving, positive force, that was derived. Well, contraction. That's actually when you're shedding, right? Now look at contraction. You look at that as negative. When this actually created the motherfucking in the first place. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to get this mixed up. I need y'all to really understand. Expansion created the positive and negative, but y'all look at that. I mean, it created the negative, right? But y'all look at that as positive. Y'all look at that as positive. Now the contraction created the giving, created the frequency vibration of giving. Because contraction is when you shed. So when you shed, and what is you doing? You giving something. You have less of what you had before. But in this realm of reality, contraction will be seen as negative. Because anytime you lose something, you lose a battle, you give something away, you have less of what you had before, that's looked at as negative. But we know in the universal law, giving is naturally positive. So you see where shit is fucked up? You see how deep in an illusion people's spirits are? Positive, negative, give, receive, force and magnetism are created energies. And they derive from expansion and attraction. And expansion created the negative aspect, but y'all look at it as positive. And contraction created the positive aspect, but y'all look at that as negative. So, you see what I'm saying? It's fucked up. To expand is to receive. But anytime you expand in any kind of business or whatever you doing, you look at that as good. But ultimately, receiving is fucking bad. Then, when you go to motherfucking contraction created giving. But anytime you lose something or you feel like you don't have what other people have, you feel like that's fucking negative. When really that's fucking ultimately good. Now, in a universal law of things, there's no such thing as good or bad, just how you use it. So what I'm saying is, the concept that's created, which is force, magnetism, positive, negative, you see what I'm saying, male and females, give and receive, right? That whole thing is on the negative end. It's on the negative end. And how it's used is in a bad way. So those concepts that was created, it's not good or bad, but how they're being used is becoming to be bad. Because I just figured out the illusion that people are in. See what I'm saying? So now we have to reverse what you think is moral. Now expansion is negative and contraction is positive. But y'all think expansion is positive and y'all think contraction is fucking negative. When I just broke it down how it's not. Now, check this out. This is a spiritual type of energy now. So what's going on is expansion. Something's contracted. Expansion, contraction. Expansion, contraction. Expansion, contraction. Expansion, contraction. So this lets you know when you expand, you need to always contract or you're not going to have no room to expand or bounce off again. You see what I'm saying? You need to always shed. So don't expand and hold it. Expand and shed. Therefore, there's going to be more room in you to be able to expand and contract on a larger level. So when you do dive into the illusions and filters and concepts of give and receive, your give and receive can be on a larger magnitude. And it will be placed in the right area of location in the astral realm, aka what people will call as being moral. But before you get there, you have to understand expansion and contraction. And if you don't know how to expand and contract in the right way, then your ass just look like an inflated football with your life's force. And you truly have no purpose. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn.